Game 4 draft now. Invictus Gaming on the blue side, Snake hitting over on the red. Xerath Trundle the two bans there. That was another thing they didn't do, is take out Flandre's Trundle. Cassiopeia said one of the answers for Snake, interestingly enough, and Maokai banned once again.
So this time a champion like Hecarim does make it through the picks and bans. The top lane champion pool has been hit, but it's mostly been kind of these off-meta picks. I mean, Lulu not necessarily off-meta, but the likes of Trundle and Maokai to some degree have fallen in and out of the meta. They're more safe options, but now suddenly, Teleport Smite, whichever one you want, ready to go.
Yeah, we've got Lulu, the last ban there for Snake, and you can see Zatai mashing the random button pretty hard.
They're all in his champion pool,
I was going to say, scary to think that everything he's doing, despite mashing that button, he'll happily play. He's played just about every champion in the mid lane, and we'll give him 10 seconds to decide what he wants to take away for his team, but Zatai, always a crowd pleaser, wants to always have some fun, but they do pick away the Gragas.
This time there's no Sejuani, so you're going to have to go something a little bit different if you want to get engaged from the jungle. But you can see from the Janna hover that it's all disengage all the time, at least in this first round of picks, you'd think.
I mean, Gragas still undefeated for Kakao, I believe, could make it 7-0 with a win here for Invictus Gaming. So a strong first pick away. Gragas been very good on 5.6 and now 5.7 as we've moved over. But Azir, he's locked in already. Bucket Orianna was just fine, but Azir, Janna, straight back to basics for Snake.
And honestly, he's been so on point with his use of the explosive cast for displacement that you feel that even someone like Azir could be preyed upon when his flash is down. One thing to put out the Emperor's Divide and flash away. When the flash is not available, there are ways to deal with that. Kassadin's now available in the champion pool. That's probably going to be the opt-in, you'd have to think, given just the success on Kassadin earlier. A lot of champions available, though, and no rush to lock in a mid laner just yet.
No, not at all. Plenty of opportunity for Invictus Gaming, although they have good information right now. IG going to potter through a couple picks here. We haven't seen this quite yet, actually, but it was a popular bottom lane for Kid and Kitties for a while. The Kennon's locked in. Kalista joins it, and that should be their duo lane.
Just so much lane presence between these two. Kennen already been one of the strongest laners of all time, even with some slight nerfs. He was always a very strong laner, whether it was auto attacks, whether it's just the Shuriken Rush, or Shuriken Toss, or whatever she's able to use. His whole kit, is very aggressive. And then with the Fate's Call for reposition, it's probably going to be disengage rated Kennen, but with Janna, of course, being locked in, you can't really look to Lightning Rush into the backline and get the CC going. But when it comes to disengage, plenty of options here for Kennen.
Yeah, Snake have started well here as we see what they want to pick up for their next few picks. Kalista's been a favorite of Crystal's, actually, for quite a long time here. But Snake, I like what they're doing here. Rek'Sai over to Beast, which makes sense. A bit more proactive, bit more engage options. But Crystal will take Tristana into the Kalista matchup.
And this is a very savvy take, is that people are starting to uncover that when it comes to auto attack trades, Ren sets are lovely, but dying instantly to the explosive charge coming through from Tristana is the reality. You cannot take auto attack trades with Tristana if you're on even foot or worse here. I mean, Tristana's just going to be able to do it just fine. So this is going to be interesting to see if we see the lane swap. I mean, the support in this case might make the difference in that you're taking auto attacks from a Kennen and a Kalista. Much more aggressive trading coming through from the IG lane. But 2v2, you have to say, just on paper, Tristana should actually have the run of this bottom lane.
Yeah, seems good there for Crystal. We know what he's like when his aggression is enabled, but IG picks some very late game carries. There's the last few, Hecarim and Kassadin. And the one thing here is that Kakao, he's got a lot of work to do, because that is arguably 3 losing on neutral lanes.
And that's not going to be ideal whatsoever. Their wave clear is also situational at best. Not wonderful, not abysmal, but somewhere in the middle between those two things. Kakao going to help that with, of course, the barrel toss. Kakao's playing the Gragas, so he's giving himself the best opportunity to get towards 7-0, but this is a difficult game, and we're going to see Beast onto the Rek'Sai we didn't actually mention. Going to have much more of a mid-game focus. Kakao's already shown the virtues of how strong that champion can be. Looks like they're considering Nautilus, though.
I mean, Flandre definitely does some stuff here, but we'll see what Snake want to pick away. Apparently it is Nautilus, so that's what they'll take for themselves. And that is top lane Nautilus for Flandre.
I think that is the definition of some stuff, the top lane Nautilus. Build path is always interesting. Rod of Ages has kind of been the standard, although then you're erring towards the late game, and then Hecarim will walk in and have Trinity Force. So maybe you're going to go for a bit more immediate power, like a Frozen Heart or something against this lineup. But top lane Nautilus, Flandre has been, if nothing else, the innovator this season with the Teleport Smite meta that Zatai's proudly wearing, a Flandre special. But this is definitely something different.
This is very deep, pun intended there, with the Nautilus pickup in the top side for Flandre. I guess they just want a lot of CC, because remember, Cassidy, when he gets going, he's hard to stop. Flandre is making sure he can stop the Cassidy.
There's a lot of question marks here. Zatai probably happy to opt into a lane swap because he has the teleport smite and can happily pick up camps. But can you imagine the jungle follow CC coming through from a Nautilus of all things? All the lanes, the moment Nautilus goes off the map, have to pay attention, whether it's support Nautilus or jungle Nautilus, because he has 4 types of CC. From level 2 onwards can have access to 3 CCs, including the big, of course, Dredge Line hook. So it's going to be the battle of who can get the most done with the least amount of information, because there could be crazy 3-4-man fights in the mid lane early this game if the jungle follow comes through.
And don't forget as well that Nautilus was developed as a pick, effectively as a Kalista counter pick, so Kid is going to have quite a lot of problems there, given the amount of gauge, especially coming through from the top lane. I mean, we said that Snake needs to be a bit more proactive, need more, go buttons, need more engage tools. Flandre has found his own way to bring that to him. You know what? We'll see what Nautilus gets on the top side as we're about to get straight into Game 4. And welcome onto the Rift here for our 4th game as Snake, all grouped together nice and friendly around the big, huggable Nautilus in the top lane for Flandre. Yes, don't adjust your volume or your television. That is exactly what's happening in this game number 4.
Yeah, you wouldn't think on patch 5.7 full zoom was really justified for a Nautilus, but it's a top lane Nautilus. It's not the support. It's not the jungle that honestly seems like rarest of all the breeds of Nautilus, because the top lane Nautilus, apparently it's coming back.
Yeah, Trinket Ward goes down though. Snake with a good 5-man, able to clear out a bit of vision, and they're looking for aggressive vision here. And they're going to, again, try and scout out that lane swap, because level 1 going to get crazy here with all these compositions.
It's just really hard to say who's most priced in for a lane swap. There's always teams that benefit more from lane swaps, some that struggle in them. In terms of 2v2 lanes, it's probably going to be fine for Tristana, but maybe worth dodging the Kalista Cannon in the early levels before you get access to all 3 abilities, specifically the rocket jump if you're going to start with the explosive shot first. There's a lot of different flexible options coming through for IG, because as we mentioned, the jungle follow from Snake is very strong, but Hecarim being able to exit lane with Smite is also advantage. Definitely a lot of trade-offs, so I'm just really excited to see what comes of all this action.
Well, right now it seems like Invictus Gaming going to take away the blue buff here. Trying to spot where Snake's duel lane is. They're actually in the top side of the map, so if they're looking for the 2v2, they're not going to get it. Initiate the lane swap, I think, expecting IG to be there, but IG have already started on the other side of the map.
So if we do eventually end up with this lane swap, the big thing for IG is that Hecarim isn't accountable. He's able to get Smite, unless, of course, we see very fast lane pushing coming from Crystal and Ella, which is a possibility. But for now, on paper, it looks like they'll be able to pick up a lot of minions, and the jungle follow. The uncleansable tunneling engage coming through from the Unburrow on Beast, and just Flandre working towards level 2 and having CC, you have to be so scared in the mid lane if you're a rookie. And even though he's already won this laning matchup in Game 2 today, it's a very different proposition when both Rek'Sai and Nautilus are tending towards your lane.
And look, if Ella wants to leave as well and come out a bit of additional CC and an exhaust, could see, 4 people in the mid lane at 4 minutes. It became almost a running joke in the LPL regular season, but we've seen a lot of teams opt into it in lane swap situations, and Rookie certainly going to have to be on the back foot. The melee Cassidy with a flash only at level 1 to 3. Going to be pretty good target for that sort of gank.
Absolutely. There's so many options here for Snake, the rookie, who was actually even and maybe even a couple CS ahead in this matchup when he played it in Game 2, but there was nowhere near this amount of pressure. Can't remember if it was standard lanes or a jungle follow, but still, it paled in comparison to what Snake have fielded. We talked about multiple losing lanes. Okay, now suddenly the 2v2 is not a losing lane, but the mid lane has so much extra pressure, but you can't help but expect Rookie to fall behind in CS or just fall prey to a gank.
And I guess the other thing is, who benefits most from the lane swap from these AD carriers? Both Kalista and Tristana quite happy to get additional farm here, but I'm not too sure who would rather have that early game edge and push towards your first early AD item.
I feel like if you're looking for trades, I feel like Crystal will use that early AD pickup better than Tristana, just because... Sorry, better than Kalista, just because Kalista's building Bloodthirster almost from necessity for safe laning phase, whereas you trade very effectively offensively with AD scaling on the Tristana. So probably you can see a lot more aggression from the early purchase, and thus Crystal maybe slightly getting the benefit from the lane swap.
We'll have to see. So we are still in a pause in this particular game, but Curious to see what happens in the level 1, of course. Movement always crucial in these sort of games. I mean, Kennen, not even too bad in a roam, but does probably want to stick with the Callista. That's sort of the burden, I guess, of Fate's Call, is that as a support, you kind of expect it to be close to your AD carry.
If you're looking for any sort of CC, you need at least 2 levels, but that requires a very overextended member and multiple auto attacks, but 3 levels to have any realistic hope of picking up any roam CC. So not really looking to lane, and honestly such a strong laner that it's always looking to opt into a 2v2, in this case, dodged by Snake.
See, Flandre looks pretty happy right now, honestly, playing his Nautilus. So, again, Snake have often been innovators on different patches. We've noted that with Flandre, with the Smite Teleport. Nunu was something that Beastorm was brought back into the meta, it felt like, that now is stock standard across the top teams in the LPL. There's a reason Snake have done so well for effectively an amateur team on their first outing in a professional league, and they're always a lot of fun to watch, and Flandre especially is always entertaining as we pop ourselves back into the game.
I mean, look, even if Nautilus eventually gets into a 1v2 situation, obviously going to be super tanky between the Titan's Wrath shield and just his naturally high health pool. So it's going to be fairly immovable in lane. Can last hit well with the Staggering Blow passive, applying CC and a bit of extra magic damage. But the jungle follow, that's the big question mark. So when we see level 2 on both, every lane, be scared.
Yeah, you can see Ella actually pulling the blue away. So Snake going to take the other camp that belongs to them in this game, which is, of course, the Invictus Gaming blue buff, as we're jungling vertically instead of horizontally this time around. But no gank coming quite yet. In fact, Baka holding his own in that lane right now on the Azir, kind of taking the early advantages that you expect in the range versus melee matchup.
And again, you have to remember the rookie cannot hope to overextend. There's so many different ways he can be ganked in the mid lane. We've already seen some of the creative things that Kakao could do when he was playing the Rek'Sai with those burrowing over the thicker walls. But speaking of Kakao, he's prepped the extra jungler. That's the early dragon. That's what you get when you're jungling on the bottom side of the map. And as expected, they should pick it up very early.
This is a hallmark of IG's play. In their semifinals, actually, against EDG, they constantly took early dragons. Kakao loved to take it away at 3 to 5 minutes. And unfortunately for IG in that series, it did not convert them into wins. But you can say one thing about Kakao, he's been very consistent with early dragon control this whole series, actually.
He just has a very good understanding of vertical jungling. That's what's open to them. Some teams, they kind of dilly-dally with picking up that early dragon. They might leave it to 5, 6, 7 minutes into the game, but the time are going to be super early in this case. Pre-10 minutes, potentially, a second dragon could be down for IG.
And again, we've talked about Dragon Snowball in particular in this series. Invictus Gaming have certainly been on top of it for the first 2, and Snake kept it even, and that was enough for them as they forced a few team fights. So if IG can continue, again, this very objective-based, rotation-oriented style that they seem to have shown in the playoffs, they'll be on good stead to finally take the series 3-1.
I'm quite surprised to see Crystal not looking to push out this top wave, just because, as we discussed, Zatai's just able to jungle, and they've got 2 smites. They're going to pick up more camps than the enemy. That's just going to be the result, given how they're jungling. You can see Rek'Sai on the map tending towards the bottom lane and a potential mini, but it doesn't come through. But just surprising to see not trying to make Zatai a counter. Of course, if you push this top lane wave, Smite's not going to help you in lane like the old Ignite pickups used to. So it's less of a deterrent for a turret dive or anything like that. You'll be overextended with Smite Ignite in a large parts of the laning phase, but just happy to let this whole phase continue, and thus much more CS available for the Hecarim.
Flandre now actually level 2, a very easy target. Ella's coming down as well. The teleport, though, in for the type. Beast is going to go in. Kitty's actually taking up the turret, but Beast will go down for first blood to Hecarim. Flandre trying to stun them up. Will get to tie under the turret. A Tracheel there goes to Ella, and a 4-man dive goes a little wrong for IG.
Yeah, much more benefit for Snake. They have 2 members picking up lane farm, so unless they get a big objective here, the fact that they use much less resources in this situation is a big benefit to Snake.
They're going to try and take the turret if they can, but Crystal, I think, pushing his wave out now as well. Actually, no, going to meet it, wants to continue the freeze. And Tristana trying to buy a lot of time here for the top side, but Kid gets hooked up there by Flandre. Ella follows in for some harass, and IG might think better about going in for this turret.
I'm just trying to unpack the benefits of this Nautilus. Of course, Nautilus not going to have a very high item cap. He's going to get tankier and tankier with purchases, but isn't looking for a Trinity Force or a big damage item as far as we know. He has fairly long cooldowns, but I guess with the changes to Riptide, you could consider it. It wouldn't be an ideal Trinity Force champion by any means. Probably just going to build stack tank items, just get the health scaling going with his Titan's Wrath shield. and just deal with his base values, which are very respectable. Certainly no rumble when it comes to early item power spikes, but always going to be relevant just because, again, has such a bevy of CC.
Yeah, Beasto coming into the top side. Level 3 actually equals the tie. Just going to take him off the wave. And Crystal's dedication to freezing almost got himself killed as Rookie diving into the mid lane. Gets Ignite on Tabaka. Needs another Rift Walk. Does find her. And a solo kill for Kassadin.
But getting outplayed on one of your trademark champions is really questionable from Baka. At least according to the portrait, had the ultimate available and not used. Not really sure what to make of that trade in the mid lane.
Just a little sloppy there from Baka getting himself killed. But Kakao does the right thing in the top side as Kid and Kitties will get the turret in the bottom lane. Finally breaking that freeze from Crystal. He was really determined to deep freezing that wave, but it's finally been broken by the presence from the jungler and top laner.
But it's been answered in bottom lane. They've already pushed in a turret. Of course, no turret damage whatsoever coming onto Hecarim's turret. Hecarim's in general looking for a long laning phase, and okay, he has a very high item floor, you'd have to say, because he really wants Trinity Force, a Cinderhulk, maybe some Home Guard boots to come through. Those are going to be significantly delayed, but IG are making them pay on the map, and they're going to start stacking dragons. The next one's only a couple of minutes out.
I mean, thankfully for Snake, they are rotating their bottom lane down, so with the BF Sword, Crystal might feel a bit more comfortable in this matchup as Kid goes back. Berserker is just briefly, but double dagger recurve, but going for a quick hurricane, it looks like.
Looking for team fights right now, you'd have to think. There's going to be a point in this game where the likes of Nautilus and maybe even Rek'Sai will start to outscale the hurricane damage. The Rensets will be that much more difficult because Nautilus will be able to use his large amount of CC to isolate the Cliss to ensure she can't spread the Ren stacks onto multiple members. But right now, it's a very big team fight in Power Spike, and crucially, if you can somehow find a way to swap back and fight with Dragon with those Ren sets available, with the Hurricane being able to push those Ren stacks onto multiple members, that will be a big advantage for IG if they want to keep fighting for Dragon, which you have to think is that big thing coming into this game.
You would normally, but Dragon up in a minute 20, and Kalista's gone top lane here up against Flandre's Nautilus, who has a double Doran's ring, by the way. So possibly a Rod of Ages, but definitely needs some early AP and health and the regen for the early landing. I mean, Kid maybe trying to get a couple of extra quick turrets here with the attack speed. He has to know that he's going to at least try and push the wave when he feels like it, but that does leave that Dragon open here.
But the big question is, will we see Snake go straight onto it? That's kind of the question we don't know. IG are just kind of hedging their bets and hoping, as you see the huge burst damage come through from the explosive shot. They're just hoping that they can swap back in, say, 2-3 minutes time and the Dragon still be an objective to contest.
Yeah, very smart harass there by Crystal. That charge on the turret actually doubled in radius when it explodes on the turret as well, which is why the two people that were down there trying to defend ended up eating so much AoE damage. But Crystal is going to come in, looks to try and take the turret away. 30 seconds left to Dragon. Should be able to get both, maybe.
It just feels like IG in general a bit unsettled by this Tristana pick. It hasn't been seen much in competitive play, although Uzi playing it showed that a lot of teams are considering this as a viable pick. The turret pushing and the harass under turret makes it so hard for an underleveled Hecarim to even hug the turret for any hope of picking up experience, because you get punished by that AoE damage and have to back away. So maybe it'll evolve as a way to deal with zoning these underleveled 1v2 specialists, because you just have to respect that explosion damage.
Good timing here by Snake as well. I know they have time to wait for the Dragon. Do take the turret away, but Beast and Baka were already on top of it. Flandre has actually walked down here as well. And of course the bottom turret's gone down. So 1 for 1 in turrets. Dragon almost done here at this stage of the game. And IG going to give up any hopes of potential contesting and go for a push instead.
The tie isn't even level 6. They really don't want to fight. He doesn't even have teleport if they wanted to. But smart to go for a bit of turret damage. I get, in fact, a lot of turret damage through.
Almost dead there. Flandre looks to get in range for the ulti, but doesn't quite get there. And Kassadin kind of hard to pin down as well. Snake now 5-man strong in the mid lane, though. Maybe look for an initiation, but instead could look again. They've got a turret already. Maybe just push in for a siege.
One of the reasons that IG lost that previous game is they fought for Dragons. They weren't really in any position to, with their comp, with their item timings. Smart of IG not to try and do that in this situation, but you can see the punishment coming through. Happy to tank a couple of turret shots because the siege is on.
Yeah, that's aggressive from Crystal, just using these shields from Ella to deal damage to the turret, but explosive shot down. Tristana still a pretty good siege champion, arguably better with the changes that have come through recently on this patch, and Snake are not giving up, at least for now.
I mean, this is not a lot of wave clear coming through from IG, you have to mention. It's Kakao is honestly the biggest wave clearer there. Azraki's starting to get a bit of AP behind. No Rod of Ages stacking just yet. Does have the gold for it, though, and that's a 10-minute window to tell you when IG are really looking to opt into fights.
Yeah, Rookie going to get that item, does complete the Rod of Ages, and will power up quite nicely in the next 10 minutes time. Kid, Hurricane almost done there as well. Maybe just needs it for wave clear, honestly, at this point. potentially expecting a lot of siege coming through for Crystal, who's now picked himself up an Avarice Blade, curiously enough. So going for a bit more of that greed, a bit more of the investment option there.
Maybe he just looks over to the fact that there are multiple members, the likes of Cassidy, that are really looking to stack up to the late game. Cinderhulk's effectively a death cap for health and incentivizes further health purchases. At least the Phage, of course, going to come through for Zatai. The Rod of Ages has a 10-minute stacking time. Kalista is looking for immediate power, but because the team in general is tending towards the late game in terms of their item pickups, why not go for Avarice Blade and do your best Kid impression when it comes to investment banking on these AD carries?
Yeah, Hurricane completed now for Kid, actually, so going to get quite a bit better at chopping down these minion waves. Rookie level 9 as well. Going to push it on the turret, but Ella's there to help him out and has to be a bit careful. Janna, level 6 here. Kiddies will come in as well, and that should force the Janna off the turret and gift it over to IG.
But you just very seldomly see a Kassadin get an enemy's turret first, let alone an Azir, the king of 25, 30 minutes. The turret's still up because he has so much wave clear. Great decision by IG to give up any hopes of contesting just the first dragon for that inner turret damage. Sorry, the outer turret damage in mid, because it's definitely opened up this map a bit.
And Rookie forced the Rift walk away, though. Ella and Crystal willing to fight there, and Rookie not weak at this point of the game, does have his Rod of Ages, but that's still charging up here, and Rookie maybe have to think twice about going in for an aggressive 1v2.
Speaking of aggression, 3 members up the top lane. Flandre already super tanky and has a very good idea that there's foes afoot.
Yeah, he's actually behind in gold and CS as well. You have to, CS and gold you have to expect there. Only 10 though. Flunder's actually kept up quite nicely in the early situation, and we see this a lot from Flunder. As you see, he's got about 1,200 gold to spend there, and almost 1,000 gold behind actually. So about 800, 900 gold down is a bit tricky for Flunder. But I have to say, for someone who was kind of sold to us at the start of the season as a carry top laner, he spends an awful lot of his games with little to no gold.
I think this is just what he's developed in, and understanding what Beast and Ella have brought the lineup, and the consistent overriding identity of Crystal as a hyper carry player. It was always the Tristanas and Kog'Maws of the world that really fit Crystal's playstyle. So someone has to lose the gold. It's one of the reasons that OMG have really struggled to come together, is that it feels like for them, Loveland has been the one to lose out on gold, but he's still very stubborn in his playstyle, getting in the enemy's face. Not really good counter jungling when you're, 1,000, 1,500 gold worth of items effectively down on what you used to be. In this situation, Crystal's always the one that picks up the farm, so that's why we see Righteous Glory Nautilus coming through, is that he's got a very low floor when it comes to team fight stats. Just needs the Righteous Glory to get that CC going.
Bit of poke onto Kakao actually, going to get some AoE down. Does actually hit onto the turret, I think, as well. So Snake again, good siege here with the Tristana. Dragon, not quite available yet, would be, I guess, breaking serve in a sense. They're on the Dragons. Give either team their second if they picked it up, and it's back up at 2 minutes. And Snake, more than happy to do a little bit of ARAM here.
I mean, IG really want to have Kassadin and Hecarim as the 1-3-1 unit, but the remaining 3 players have little to no wave clear, even with the Hurricane. That's probably why we saw the Hurricane rush, was to open up these situations where you can just hoover down minion waves with Kalista, but it's going to take a lot of autos without the AD pickups, and so far it's been picked apart, although Hecarim picking up items is always a good thing for IG.
Zatai should be able to take that turret. In fact, Flandre is getting tracked by Kakao in his own jungle, walks past a ward as well, and Zatai might just fancy a kill here, but that tower should be going over as a result. But again, Dragon up in a minute 20. IG have to be careful not to be caught out of position when the objective respawns.
And look, realistically, even though this is an under-farmed, under-items completed Flandre, you are not going to kill a Nautilus. Nautilus, one of the reasons why he's so popular in the support role is he does so much with so little. Having that scaling cooldown reduction on Riptide gives him wave clear and just lots of teamfight impact, even after his targeted CC, the depth charges down. So just happy to build up items, because in the late game, in a different way, Hecarim's going to be very relevant, just with a much higher item cap.
Yeah, Rookie with the blue buff now as well. Dragon back up in 50 seconds, so everybody going back to shop. Crystal has a static shift, curiously, so going quite old school with this Tristana build here.
I mean, that makes sense, right? We've already said they want to 1-3-1. They want to buy time in the middle. Stop any of this split pushing nonsense with just really fast pushing of your own. It's Crystal's approach to taking out this game. Between the maxed out explosive charge and the auto attacks, you're just going to be mowing down minion waves yourself. You do not want to get into a situation where IG are able to pull out this game to the late enough stage with no cost. You want to make sure they're losing objectives consistently, so even when they get those late game items, they're one fight away from just losing the game outright. If they're able to just side farm and Hecarim shows up with a Trinity Force and tanky items and Snake don't have a clear win condition, they will lose this game, because the scaling from Kassadin and Hecarim, it's near infinite.
It is. I mean, Tristana still scales quite well. Probably been toned down a bit as Kakao Takes a bit of damage there from the Trist. Will explode there as well.
They're
But
just buying time for people to farm.
yeah, pretty tanky. And they just want the Dragon here. Flandre's rotating down to Ty. Does have his teleport available, though. Home Guard not there, but does have his Skirmisher's Saber. And Snake going to pull the Dragon out quite far away. But Zatai, stubborn in his ways here, sticking in the top lane.
And honestly, this is just a bluff. They just want to buy as much time for Snake off this objective. They don't really want to teleport, but they're going to try it.
Well, they are going to teleport actually there as Dragon gets about half out. Kitties, though, dives in with the ulti. Beat's going to get stunned up, but he's fairly tanky. Good knockback there, Frigga Cow. And a massive ult from Zatai. Now Crystal forced to run away. Flandre has to get out as well, but Rookie diving into the backlines with reckless abandon. Beast will go down as well. That's going to be an ace completed as Flandre goes down. And Invictus Gaming single-handedly win the team fight.
And look, I was the one bluffed, Peichan, because the damage coming through was insane from Rookie especially, even with just a fiendish codex. The burst was registered, and the Hurricane came up trumps. They were already spreading damage. The burst through from just a tie with no big damage items. I thought they were just looking for a situation where they just keep split pushing, buy time, and ensure the items came through, but clearly they can opt into team fights just happily.
Yeah, they were comfortable there. I mean, Crystal's still getting bigger. Baka there as well. And they have so many good tools in a disorganized fight like that, that as soon as it happens, someone cleans house, and that's Cassidy.
I thought they were a couple of items away from starting this fight. Firstly, Ella uses the Monsoon after the CC effects have come, but just watch this engage coming through, and just the stacked up rampage damage from Zatai gets everyone low, and everyone's low against Cassidy and Callisto. You can fill in the blanks. Just choose your own adventure for who picks up the kill from IG, and just really smart team fighting and layering of CC.
Good disengage there by Kitties, by Kitties here as well, with the support cannon being chucked in there by the Callista. You can kind of see why it's been such a popular combination here, and look at that gold lead already. IG suddenly 7-1 up in kills with about 5,500 gold ahead.
Now, ask me anything about a Hecarim Cassidy lineup 6,000 gold ahead and winning in objectives. Things are looking excellent here for Invictus Gaming.
And it's kind of back to form for the first two games, you have to think. Snake were able to wrest control of Game 3 and just take it over in a few quick fights. But IG now in that position as Beast will spot Zatai here, but devastating charge away. Baka trying to get him with the ulti, but just misses.
That wall, I mean, that rift apparently was just slightly too thick for him to be able to hold up the whole objective. So they don't even get the pick. Devastating charge was enough to break away from Beast, enough that it wasn't instantly interrupted by the model size of Rek'Sai, as Zatai gets to get a free minion.
And look at Zatai's tower there just poking out of the bottom half of the screen. It's basically on full health. As Zatai going to fight Baka now as well, but Flandre is going to join in. Baka actually getting quite low here as Zatai uses the ulti, going to keep chasing in. Flandre going to try and CC him up, but Kakal's diving in as well. Baka comes through, he gets moved away by the explosive cast. Flandre now, the target actually getting chased down. Is low, going to go down. Zatai gets the kill, and IG pick up the double.
And at the same time in the bottom lane, they actually take out a turret as well. Cassidy roaming around happily in the midst of all this, not even needed. Now looking for the assassination on Ella.
Yeah, Rookie going to keep chasing in Ella. Nowhere good to run up. Base Gates will protect him for a while. Riftwalk on a short-ish cooldown, I'll say, at level 11, so not quite available back again. Invictus Gaming in a push on the top side as well. And all of a sudden, 90 minutes in, and IG looking complete control once more.
I did not expect, with the item timings completed, for Nautilus to look like a complete wet noodle compared to the Hecarim, but Hecarim overtook that big dragon fight. Is now split pushing, going for the Frozen Heart, not rushing into any sort of damage items, and Nautilus with Righteous Glory and 56 CS behind. I don't know what they were thinking with this Nautilus pick, but it's certainly not worked yet.
Not right now, as B's going to try and knock up Kitties. Does get it, but the Fate's Call will get him out to safety. And a futile attempt there for Snake does not net a kill.
And Cassidy just roaming around. 10 stack Rite of Ages, just about a minute away from completion. And the next item, whatever he's looking for, is going to be a big one.
I mean, already Rookie's doing ridiculous damage on the Cassidy, so probably as Zon is coming through, does have the Fiendish Codex for the Chalice that will eventually come through as well. We've seen Godby actually from LGD, again waiting in the final there tomorrow, really popularized this particular 5.6, 5.7 Cassidy build.
This is what you need to do, power down turrets. That's what Snake are best at. You have good disengage as well. And Cassidy, you could see, was off screen thinking about his options, wasn't able to do anything. Snake grouping and sieging is their best way to win, even if there are ultimates like the Explosive Cask, and to some degree, the Slicing Maelstrom and Hecarim ult that you have to respect. Just ward your flanks, ensure that you're not flanked by either the Cassidy or the Hecarim, and keep pushing, because at the moment, that's all you can do with this lineup.
I mean, we've seen what happens to Snake when they fight Invictus Gaming in any sort of jungle or choke. Again, disorganized fights, that's the best possible news for Cassidy and Hecarim. Even Kalista, who's highly mobile, loves those sort of fights as well. Chaotic skirmishes almost is what they want, where Snake looking for big 5v5 team fights.
And the thing is, between Gragas and Hecarim, you have a Terrify and a huge displacement. It's the sort of fight that's always going to be, by necessity, disorganized, because positioning's at a premium between those two abilities. One forces you in a particular direction, the other one completely displaces you, and that's just so much carnage for the Kalista to hop around with the defensive utility of the Slicing Maelstrom. There's actually a very smart team comp coming through from IG, and if they don't take advantage of their one big point of power, which for Snake is pushing and the lack of wave clear on IG, team fights are so hard for them to navigate.
Yeah, Rookie is, you already kind of said it, but Cassidy gets untenable in the late game. He might already be at this position as he is going to go back, spend a big boatload of cash there as well. And I wonder what item he's going to pick up as Baka sets up a Sun Turret. Actually not quite going for big ticket items just yet as Rookie. Cooldown boots and working in towards, I think, a Chalice there with a Fiendish Codex and an Aptome.
It's going to be Zhonya's and Athene's at some point. Just, putting items together can always change the build. Could be an emergency void stuff if you really want it, but just getting as much power as possible. Moving towards 40% CDR. Has the large mana pool, but not necessarily the mana regen. But, picking up blue at this point, probably not going to be a big concern right now.
No, and it's just the big resets there with the mana refresh constantly coming through with the Athenes. It makes Cassidy real scary in the late game situations.
And Cannon's looking to match the Righteous Glory. Of course, feels a little bit silly with all the mana in his inventory right now. But, of course, when you finish that Righteous Glory, it just really helps you have the effective engage or just the Righteous Glory for the defensive utility. Offensively or defensively, we send one offensive use of the Slicing Maelstrom. You'd expect with the Janna, though, purely going to be appealing tool for Kid in fights. Yeah,
just nice to have another way to get in or out, given that Fate Skull is going to give you one already. And again, that's been the reason we've seen Cannon support be so popular recently. I mean, Snake are working on, again, their best thing, which is the Siege. But the tie may be enough here as Kitties is also in the area. Cacao even wandering his way back up. And Snake, they spot the Cassidy and they run straight back to their turrets.
And their big issue is they need to 5-man group to get the biggest value out of their comp and all the synergies and disengage they have. But, you put 5-man top, that opens up a whole map of opportunity for IG to try different things, whether it's split pushing with Zatai, whether it's trying to take the dragon that spawns in a few seconds. There's always an opportunity cost to your rotations. And 5-man top is seldom seen because it's just really not effective.
And you can see Baka going to go back now. Has to spend a bit more gold and move in towards what looks to be a death cap. Zatai actually fancies Crystal. That's big burst damage coming through, but Zatai also quite tanky with the Frozen Heart. Ella will flash ulti to move him back. Flunder is even here as well, but Crystal getting aggressed on here. Zatai might get a kill. 1v3 goes in. Massive burst. The ulti goes just wide there. Fandre hooks him up again, and Crystal finally gets the kill, but IG advanced with a dragon.
Exactly. The best they could hope is one kill for a dragon. It's on the other side of the map. That's, of course, what we're talking about in terms of trade-offs. A kill gets Tristana going to some degree, but it's the absolute minimum you can get. And the minion waves, again, completely in the control of IG.
Yeah, Kid's even solo pushing down the bottom side there as well. Yeah, it doesn't need them. I mean, has his friends on the other side of the map anyway. Knows the tie's drawing pressure, and this Hecarim, he's pretty tanky. He's doing decent damage, I have to say, to Crystal in these exchanges. But even without a Trinity Force, Zatai is so annoying.
Exactly. He's just going to keep going top. Now he's super tanky. Doesn't really do a lot of damage, but enough to actually chunk out Crystal, as we could see. Not enough to force his heal, but certainly really make positioning difficult for the Tristana. Blade of the Ruined King is the actual adaptation for Kid. We've seen this a couple of places in different scenes, not so much in the LPL. He definitely doesn't have the defensive shield. It is a little bit more prone to being assassinated, although it seems so far that only Nautilus really can get onto that backline at this point with the death charge. If he's able to just not be burst down, and honestly it's very difficult for Snake to burst down a single target, the consistent damage of the Blade of the Ruined King adds up, and it's being spread over with the armor penetration and the Hurricane being completed.
Yeah, so Kid, 3 items looking strong. Crystal working in for his Bloodthirster here, you have to think, with that Vampiric Scepter. It doesn't even have boots 2 yet on the Trist, so bit of thrift shopping now, about 20 CS behind actually over on Kid, sorry. Rookie looking down, has completed his Zon. He's going to work in for that Chalice. You have to think of that next item. And Cacao getting tanky. He's got his locket already done.
Here's a tie, of course, doing his usual thing and pushing down bottom lane. Not interested in grouping whatsoever. Obviously would really love a Trinity Force at this point, but had to go for tankiness. Honestly, he's got so much damage from Gragas and from Cassidy and Kalista, so doesn't really need to worry about focusing on damage. And now that they spot Nautilus bottom, Baron started.
I mean, Zatai's going to force a very poor choice here for Snake, one way or the other. Beast not quite in the area as Flunder is already porting in. Zatai, though, will port in to join them, and they're going to start a team fight here. Rookie looking for someone. Cacao, massive ulti, moves Baka back in. He gets them out with his ultimate, though, and Kitties can't quite find a way in, but Zatai in the middle of everyone. So tanky and disruptive, and no one dead quite yet, but it's only a matter of time. Zatai charging in, finds Baka, does get the kill, despite the turret going up. Off in the backline, Kitties takes out Crystal. Plunder is getting dove now as well. Ella's already dead. It's maybe going to be a fourth kill. Zatai will chase in for it, will take it away, and another clean team fight for Invictus Gaming.
Yeah, looking for the clean ace, though. Only Rek'Sai alive, but Zatai's there.
Yeah, Beast can't do anything. Rookie will chase in, and Zatai gets a well-earned double kill.
Doesn't have the burst damage, but it's so tanky and sticky that it doesn't really matter. IG can push some turrets, or they can take the Baron, and they're going to pick the Baron, it seems.
Might even be able to do both at this particular stage, where the death timers are quite low, to be perfectly honest here, at only 26.5 minutes in. But that Baron is dead, and IG up in turrets, well up in kills, and up in dragons. You look up at the gold and you see maybe a sinking feeling in your heart if you're a Snake fan, because that is 11,000 gold behind.
And amusingly, it's a complete role reversal from the previous game, 14-2, very similar to the 15-1 score we saw Snake win the previous game. The rotations have been decent from Snake, only a turret behind, although not going so well on the dragon front. But the kills just aren't there whatsoever. And the Tristana did so much work in the previous game, is forced into emergency bilge water. If we learned anything in this series, buying a bilge water is bad times for an AD carry.
Yeah, not at least for Crystal, as far as things are concerned, because Kid, of course, did buy his, and now it's his Blade of the Wrong King.
Okay, the bilge water, though, when it's in the inventory by itself, it seems to be the sign that you're going to lose a fight.
It's very lonely here as far as lifesteal items go. I mean, especially for Crystal, much more of a defensive item, and sure, he needs peel sometimes, he needs to stay alive, but he's, that big bloodthirster jump on top of the enemy with my rocket jump and flash sort of AD carry, very imp-esque almost in that way. So you have to think, when you see Crystal in particular with a defensive item like Blade of the Ruined King, it's just not the same AD carry.
And honestly, I think it's to some degree, it's his prioritization of slot efficiency. As you can see, I don't think he's actually damaging Zatai.
No, Zatai is really tanky at this stage of the game. He's got a Spirit Visage, he's got his Frozen Heart, he's got about 3k health with his Cinderhawk, even got a Phage just for a few more offensive options. And again, he's been annoying all game. He might even solo Crystal here, even with Beast watching.
I mean, Zatai gives no mundos at this point.
No, he does not. Absolutely zero here as IG going to split push up with the Baron up minions, push down the mid, rotate to the top, and just leaves Zatai to his own devices. Even if he dies, IG will be able to pick up a couple turrets. And top tier 2 is well and truly dead already.
And that's the thing, Tristana can't even hope to solo. I mean, when her ult's down, there's considerable kill pressure. She's already used it defensively, and that just opens up this 4-man group at top to push.
Yeah, Rookie tanks a couple turrets. Baka actually going to be launched back into the team. Ella denies him there as Baka doesn't quite throw out his ult. He will hold on to it with the Monsoon, but IG going to take out the turret. Kitty's getting low, actually gets face called at just the last second. They take the inhibitor turret. Baka getting jumped on. Ultis, but he's already dead. Kid still jumping in. Ren comes down for a second kill, and now Crystal being chased down. Rookie just going in, and Zatai ults onto Crystal. Tristana's dead. Ella will die soon as well, as Rookie might look for it. But honestly, IG, they don't even need it. They'll look for the kill. Ella will get away, but that's 3 clean kills. Never mind, Kitty's died as well. But the base completely shattered now.
And Zatai shows you the value of the full tank Hecarim doing so much work regardless. Despite the fact that that's the series, the surrender still comes out from Snake. And although it's just for 3rd place, I think the IG fans are certainly going to go home happy, as 3 out of 4 games, they looked really on form.
They look good, and you can tell Snake, a team that when they win look great. They've got a lot of good strength to the team, but we've kind of seen this a lot in the latter end of the season. I think this series is similar. Have very exploitable tendencies to Snake, and be interested to see as they finish their season. 4th place, not too shabby in playoffs, of course. 2nd overall in the standings for the regular season. When they show up again next split, I wonder what they'll look like then.
And they just have to work on different game plans, you have to think. When they had the ranged initiation, that was something we hadn't seen much from Snake. The Swajwani looked good, but now you move Beast back onto an early ganking champion like the Rek'Sai. Certainly was nowhere near the same tier of players that we saw when Cacao moved on to the Rek'Sai. 0-4-1, basically completely anonymous this game. Okay, there weren't many kills to go around. That's 1 out of 3 kill participation. But IG, you can see some wry smiles on their face. Honestly, they wish they were in a game tomorrow for the finals, of course. 3rd place is still a very respectable result for a lineup that came up super